Sensei, we have been experiencing this pandemic for almost 2 years now. France also had lockdowns. How was it for you? How was the pandemic? How did you see it in the beginning? And how this image of the pandemic changed along this time?
Yes. So, as people know, I have a big problem with my knees. So, it was just a good moment to have an operation and 2 operations. So, I crossed all the pandemic lying on my bed because I have a replacement of my 2 articulations of knees. And of course, after each operation, I made a lot of exercise to become in a good health. And during there is a short period that we can practice, but out. And so, of course, my assistant did it because I cannot do it. Fortunately, when I can walk again, I live in an area where there is a lot of forest, so I can walk with my dog. I can do bicycle at home to become in a good health too. And when I can start again, I gave the class out, and only Kenjutsu and Jo, because we are not allowed to practice inside. So it was a good experience because I think that people need to practice Aikido, even it was out. And so most of my students come back to practice out. Not all of my students, but a lot of. And after we stop again, as you like, so we stay at home. And when my dojo really open, everybody come back. Only 3 of my students didn't want to have a vaccination, but I have a new one because there is in my country there is a lot of dojo couldn't open because of pandemic and because of people don't want vaccination. So people come to my dojo. So I have more people than before pandemic, finally. So it's very nice, and I think it's because in most of dojo in France in general, there is a lot of beginner, not really beginner, but 1 year Aikido or 2 years Aikido. And these people, this part of people stop Aikido because two years of pandemic, it was too much. So they stop. And there is most of dojo, they lost 50% of aikidoka. And the other one didn't open because there is nobody. If it's a little club like 15 people or like that, they cannot open because it was impossible, not enough people. So in my dojo it's different because my dojo is near the motorway. And so there is a lot of people, a lot of teachers coming on my dojo from Marseille, Nice, Toulon, most of big town around my place. And so it's a dojo, it's a gratis dojo. I have not a lot of beginner. I have 2 or 3 beginner, not really 1 year, but they stop 2. But I have a lot of gratis people, so they come back, and there is other one come because their dojo closed. So for me, it's very nice because there is a very good, how to say, how a lot of people coming on my dojo. There is a good practice, and so it's better than before the pandemic.
Do you think other clubs that lost students should think of a certain campaign to bring new ones back?
Yes, of course they try, but I don't have the number exactly, but I know that Federation lost, I think, half of aikidoka. So it's a lot. It's enormous. So of course. People try to do some publicity to have a new people, but it's like in Romania. In France, we didn't know. Perhaps in 2 months, they say, okay, we shut everything. We didn't know. So all people say, okay, we wait. I don't want to pay for a year for an activities if pandemic shut again the door. So people wait. So I think it will be difficult.
But your students, how did they go through the pandemic so far?
Okay, I think some of them practice Kenjutsu alone at home. Some running on the forest because you can do it. Some of them do exercise at home, but most of them do something to stay in a good health. Yes, most of them.
Not being on the tatami for, I don't know, maybe 2 years affects the connection with the Aikido on the tatami?
No, I think that when people practice people and when they like Aikido, they need to practice again and just open the door and they come because they need to practice, because they like Aikido and they want to practice again, to have this feeling with the other one, so they wait. They wait for that.
Aikido in the future, because of this pandemic, would change?
Certainly, because in France, before the pandemic, it was Aikido was going down because we are not in fashion, perhaps. So in France, martial art works. It's Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu Brazilian, this sort of thing, boxes. And Aikido is not in a good fashion. Aikido was going down. Before pandemic, we started to lose many aikidoka. Not in my dojo, but in France in general. So after pandemic, of course, it's more than before, and I think it will be difficult to come back up. But I'm sure that one day Aikido became again in a fashion, and Aikido became again. People want to practice Aikido again because, as you know, there is no competition, so we don't have television, we don't have publicity in that way, and we didn't interest people because there is no competition in France. In case Aikido is in line of natural healthy, so people want to eat better, so they try not to eat meat, and they are the way of natural thing. And I think that Aikido it is in that way. So if you are in this way, natural, healthy, naturally you come to Aikido.
This is a very good principle. So maybe this will turn into a new discussion in one of our future.
Yes, perhaps. Thank you.